Hey guys, it has been a while since I've made a video. Lots of updates to go through. I know some of you have been waiting for an update on how Rinvoq has been going for me in this time between the last video and now. And I do have some updates about that and just what I've been doing. So big update is that I moved and that, took some time and a lot of energy and a lot of recovery. Also, I completely switched jobs and careers altogether. So that was a pretty big adjustment to get used to. And as all of this was kind of coming together with the move and the job change and a lot of new stuff to learn for the new job. It took me a minute to pull everything together so that I can make another video, but let's start with what caused the change in job. So back in September, I think, back in September, I actually was affected by some layoffs at the company I was working for at the time. It was devastating. I didn't see it coming. I was working for a startup, and that's just, part of what happens in startups. Sometimes it was a good job. I loved my job at the time. Um, and that was really hard to deal with. One of the hardest things to deal with about that was the sudden loss of health insurance, which for me resulted in the sudden loss of being able to take Rinvoq. So, I did have, I think, about 2 weeks from the, finding out that I was being laid off to when my insurance ended. Had 2 weeks. So I did my best to contact my doctors, both my primary care physician, who is an internist, and um, my rheumatologist to see if they can get me in for emergency appointments, because both of those doctors usually don't have appointments, openings, like if you just call out of nowhere, unless it's an emergency, they usually can't get you in very soon because they are highly requested. And usually my appointments are booked, every few months. I just have them booked out for that time, like every 3 months or whatever. And so I usually don't have to worry about that, but I contacted them, I messaged them on like my chart and let them know that I was about to lose my health insurance, that I needed to get in for updates for like blood work, prescription refills and everything, so I can do whatever I could do right before the insurance ended. So amazingly enough, they both were able to get me in. I think it might have been the same day. And I was able to get, updated blood work and whatever was needed to get me to be able to refill Rinvoq one last time. And like any other medications I was taking for pain management and whatnot. But unfortunately, I think just the shock of the job loss, and trying to scramble to figure out how to get another job as soon as possible, because I had already been in the process of getting ready to move and my lease was up soon. So I was very much scrambling to find a new job to make sure I could still, move. And this was a big move for me. It was me getting an apartment by myself for the first time in a very long time. And I didn't want to lose that independence that I had been working so hard to get again. So, luckily I did find a job within 30 days of being laid off, which was such a blessing and a miracle, because the job I have now is even more amazing, and I love my current job and it's a perfect fit. And I'm now working in health insurance, which I have a major passion for, because as a spoonie, our lives kind of revolve around health insurance and doctor's offices and things like that. So being able to understand that world a little bit better has been such a wonderful thing. However, the job that I currently have is as a contract employee, which does not include benefits. So due to the loss of my insurance and the loss of benefits at that time, I did end up having to stop Rinvoq for a few months. At that time, because I was so worried about finding the new job and wanting to learn the new job once I was able to start, I wasn't thinking clearly, and I didn't even really think about trying to figure out another way to get the Rinvoq. But luckily, I have a wonderful friend in my life who reminded me that most of these specialty medications have like assistant programs for if you can't afford the medication for some reason. And that's one of the main things I wanted to come on here and share, is that if you were interested in taking Rinvoq, or your doctor mentioned Rinvoq, and either for some reason you just aren't able to afford the copay, or if you lose your insurance the way I did, or if your insurance just doesn't cover it or something like that, there is a assistance program for Rinvoq. So I didn't think clearly, and unfortunately I was off of Rinvoq for I think about 2.5 months, and it was bad. Like, it helps so much, and to be off of it for that period of time, I was in a pretty serious flare. However, once I didn't even think to reach out to my doctor to see if they knew about this program. I just wasn't thinking clearly. But luckily, my friend was able to take the time on her own and do the research and found out about the program called My AbbVie. And I'll go ahead and link it in the description below for the program for anybody who might need something like this. And I was able to apply for the program. They faxed information to my doctor to verify, that I've had all my blood work, up to date, and that it was prescribed to me, and whatever other questions that they needed. And then within, I think, gosh, it was only like 3 weeks of applying. My doctor, when they realized I was applying for this and that I needed it, because they didn't know that I was still without health insurance all that time, they gave me a 2-week sample of Rinvoq, which I should have asked for when I lost like insurance, but I just didn't think of it. But they gave me a 2-week sample, and they said that, I should be able to. So I think I actually, once I had them fax the information to my doctor, I got my Rinvoq in 2 weeks. So they gave me 2 weeks worth of Rinvoq in samples to last me until the application was complete. Unfortunately, though, I was in such a bad flare that I also had to do two like processes of prednisone, where you do the prednisone taper. I had to do that twice before everything got back to where it was before, because I had gotten in such a huge flare. It was a mixture of stress and just not having the Rinvoq. So thank goodness, with the Rinvoq, with the My AbbVie Assist program, they approve you for a year once you get approved. So I was able to get approved at no cost for the Rinvoq for the next year, which is amazing because I did eventually get insurance on the healthcare marketplace, but unfortunately I couldn't really afford, with the move and everything that was happening and the time frame I had without a job. I wasn't able to afford the insurance with the best coverage. So the insurance I have had a pretty large prescription deductible. So I still wasn't going to be able to, even once I had insurance, I wasn't able to get the Rinvoq through my insurance. So, and I'm still on that insurance right now, obviously, until open enrollment in November is when I'll have a chance to get better insurance, because I don't want to take advantage of the program longer than necessary. I definitely, once I have insurance that will cover it, I will definitely switch to getting it through my insurance, because once your insurance covers it, whatever your copay is, Rinvoq has payment assistance for your copays as well. So with my previous insurance, I only paid $5 a month copay for the Rinvoq. So I know that even if it's only covered at 50% with any new insurance, or 80% or whatever, 60%, whatever it's covered as, the copay assist program will cover the remainder, and I'll just be responsible for a small portion of that. So it was wonderful to be able to get back on it, and it was very, in case for some reason, if I had forgotten how well it was working for me, I was very rudely reminded by being off of it for that period of time. I was struggling to get around, to walk, to move, to take my dog out to the bathroom. I couldn't go for walks. I could barely get out of bed at night to use the restroom. Like it got pretty bad. And I thought that the moment I started taking Rinvoq again, within like a week, I assumed I would be back to where I was before. But because I had gotten into such a bad flare, the prednisone tapers were necessary. I think we did each taper about a month apart from each other. And then after that second taper, I was back on track and doing a lot better. I still have rough days, mainly due to fibromyalgia. That's one of the, like, fibromyalgia. The Rinvoq is really helping, really helping with the rheumatoid arthritis, but the fibromyalgia is a beast in its own as well. So I do currently take a muscle relaxer and Lyrica, and my doctor did up the dose of Lyrica that I'm taking because the fibromyalgia is affecting me so much, but I'm taking as much as I'm willing to take right now. So it's still rough, but it could be worse, and I'm still able to work. So that's what matters, is that, you know, I do have to do a lot around the house to make it possible for me to work. I have to make a lot of accommodations for myself. But luckily, my new job is very understanding. It's a very flexible job. And I can work as much or as little as I'd like, and that's just so helpful. So I don't have any fear of missing work because I'm not feeling well or for doctor's appointments. I can schedule around all of that, and that's absolutely wonderful. And I feel so blessed and fortunate to have my current job, which amazingly enough was found for me by another friend who just happened to come along this company and suggest that I apply, which has been one of the best things that has ever happened, is for me to find this job. Besides the Rinvoq, it was one of the other best things that have ever happened. But I just wanted to update you guys to let you guys know that the Rinvoq is still working so well for me. It's helping so much. I'm not going to pretend like it makes me normal. Like I don't have the pain level of a normal healthy person, but I can work a full-time job and have somewhat of a small social life, and I can get outside and go for walks and walk my dog, and those are all things I could not do without Rinvoq. I don't have any side effects from it. I haven't had any issues with my immune system. I haven't had any, you know, any of the bleeding issues that can come with it, or any, you know, stomach problems or anything like that. And I've been on it officially now, I think, goodness, I think it's been a year. I think it's been a year, or close to a year, that I've been on it now. So, yeah, it's still an amazing medication for me. It still helps so much. And I hope I can continue to take it. You know, the only thing that would stop that is if I started to have some kind of side effect, or if somehow my system adjusted to it and it was no longer effective. But it's nice not to have to give yourself injections all the time. I'm not afraid of needles. I didn't really have a problem with injections, but injection site reactions was an issue that I had to deal with a lot, and which caused me to constantly have to switch medications. So for that not to be an issue is really helpful. Again, I take Rinvoq at night, right before bed, literally right as I'm getting in the bed. So any of the initial symptoms that some people may have when you first take it, like grogginess or dizziness, I don't experience because I'm asleep. So if you do find, like I said, I think I said in the previous video, if you find yourself having any of those symptoms, talk to your doctor about possibly taking it before bed to make sure they feel that that will be okay. And for me, that's like the cure to all of it, is just taking it at bed. And I don't have any side effects. I don't have any side effects from it at all. And after being off of it for a few months, I'm positive of that, because I would have noticed like the alleviation of some side effects. But yeah, so that's what's been going on. New job, new completely different career from what I was doing before, and a new place, and And Rinvoq, back on Rinvoq. So happy to be back on it, still helping a lot. And I have some other really big new things coming up soon that I will share with you as they come up. But please let me know in the comments if you have any other questions about Rinvoq or about any of the accommodations I've created in my apartment to kind of help out with symptoms or anything like that. I'm open to sharing and talking and connecting with you all. So I hope you're doing well and thinking of you all. All right, bye.